Hello and welcome back to Kimboshi Radio, where Nick, we are approaching the finale. The picture's a little clearer, but still completely murky. How you feeling?
Good. So just to start off, spoilers if you have not watched the matches for January 24th, because there's gonna be a bunch.
Thank you very much. You are our savior, Nick. I was going to forget again because it's what I do. But now that we have the spoiler warning out of the way and a little bit of fluff speech to give people time to pause it if it's in their pocket, we've really narrowed the field down. How do you feel about how things stand currently?
I think the standing currently is great. This has been a really heavy injury led basho, unfortunately, where we've lost some really good top fighters, which I think has really changed kind of the trajectory of where some of these people I think would be.
Yeah, and most importantly, last time we recorded this, Asanoyama was the leader and the last undefeated. Now he appears to be out of the tournament, got to his 7 wins. Maybe he comes back for the last couple days or something like that. But he's gone, which joins the ranks of, and it's been pretty brutal, Takakeisho's gone, Takayasu's gone. He tried to come back but had to leave again. Hokuseiho's gone, Aoyama's gone, Hokuto Fuji had that bad knee injury, and he's gone after starting really well, which is disappointing. Just brutal injuries. I don't know, it feels worse than it's been in the past, but maybe it's normal. I don't know.
It's a lot of people dropped out. Like, we haven't seen, I don't think, 6-7 people drop out in a long time.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, it's important. And we lost, again, the important one there is Asanoyama falling out, which really messes up what the San'yaku is going to look like next time, but we'll save that for a later episode, because right here, I want to talk about who's left and how things kind of shifted, because we actually posted a channel poll asking people, basically it was like generic, because I was really curious. We were in this interesting spot where we had 3 top rankers, 2 Ozekis and the Yokozuna were all at 2 losses. And then 3 sort of upset guys. Now, one was Kotonowaka, the Sekiwake, but we also had Onosato and Onosho at 1 loss. So I polled the viewers because I really wanted to know, hey, who do you think has a better chance of winning this? Someone from the 3 1-lossers or someone from the 3 2-lossers? And just overwhelmingly, 76% was one of the 2-lossers, which kind of makes sense because those are your top rankers. But that was really interesting to me. Not necessarily surprising now to see Onosho and Onosato falling away, and again, from the last time we recorded, Oho and Kotoshoho falling away before that. That, we really didn't think those guys would stick and hang. But Onosho and Onosato were the 2 wildcards we thought would stick with it, and now, with both of them kind of dropping out of it, this picture has solidified to the point that it's only top rankers. Hoshoryu, Kirishima, and Kotonowaka are all hanging in there at, Kotonowaka's got 1 loss and 2 losses for the other 2, and the Yokozuna is still banging with only 2 losses.
Yes, and right now with Kotonowaka is the lead still with 10-1, and he's doing really well, but as we kind of commented when we were watching the matches today, is he hasn't had to do any wildly difficult fights left. Mm-hmm. So these next few days for him are going to be super difficult, where he still has to fight potentially Hoshoryu, Kirishima, Tiano Fuji, not people he's necessarily done the best against in the past, because they're so, I mean, it still is a different level of skill. I think he's great, but those 3 are tough fights.
Yeah, and they're exhausting, because last year we had that run where I believe it was 2 tournaments in a row in the middle of the Honbashu. Kotonowaka would beat all 3 Ozeki in a row and then beat Tiano Fuji in one of those runs as well. So we know he can do it, but in both of those basho, he kind of collapsed afterwards and ended up with single digit wins, still Kachikoshiing, I believe, but it really fell apart. And I think part of that's because of how exhausting those were. So similar to how we talked about Atami Fuji coming up and having to take his lumps at this higher ranking and things like that. I don't know. I mean, maybe Kotonowaka now has gotten to save those beatings till the end. Hopefully he has the energy left for him, because everyone else should be tired too. But that was kind of interesting to me. And when you and I have been chatting about it this week, at this point, we're kind of down to these 2 storylines, which is the most interesting, right? Is, will Kirishima get to Yokozuna and will Kotonowaka get to Ozeki? Technically, they both need to win this in order to get there. Kotonowaka needs 13 wins in a Yusho to get his 33 in a Yusho to qualify for Ozeki, and Kirishima would need this to get his back-to-back Yusho in order to qualify, but technically he could still go up with a runner-up. I don't think they would send Kotonowaka up with a runner-up because he doesn't have any Yushos. How do you feel about those 2 promotion candidates?
Like you said, I think there's a solid chance if Kotonowaka were to take it and Kirishima do the runner up, if he can beat Terunofuji, I think is the really the key there. And he's going to be what's I think the biggest disruptor because he's even if he's not fighting healthy, he doesn't look great, but he's been fighting really smart. And these two, the other Kotonowaka and Kirishima are good, but he's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a rollover fight.
Yeah, let's talk about two matches today to hammer that point home. So Terunofuji and Onosho, which you and I both love Onosho, go no show, as some would say. Like today, Terunofuji just absorbed his initial Tachi and then had a quick pivot to his left and kind of used Onosho's momentum, sent him out. Like, the stability is still there with Teru if the physical dominance is not, because he's definitely not healthy. But that's that KG veteran stuff to still get those wins, even though he has two disappointing losses this basho. Do you want to expand on that at all, on sort of the veteran status or how you feel Terunofuji stands? I know we think Kirishima and Kotonowaka are in the driver's seat, but Teru is the biggest spoiler, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. So with Terunofuji, his knees aren't great, so he hasn't been wildly mobile in the last several days, but he's still able to take, like you said, he can take on a no-show, he can take on some of these people, take that hit, not move, and if you can't move him, you're not going to win. You have to keep him, I think, off balance with his knees and play against that. Otherwise, like if you try to go toe-to-toe with him with strength, I think he's going to beat you.
100% agreed. Like, that's his weakness, is his knees. It has been for a long time, and he's just been so good that he overcomes it. But here, for whatever reason, I mean, I think he came back too soon from the injury, and so be it. Like, he's here now, and he's banging, so you got to keep going. But otherwise, I just completely agree with you. Like, that's all I guess I want to reiterate. And then the other one, so our other two-losser who has now fallen out of things is Onosato, sadly, the new young up-and-comer. Again, we talked about two young guys, Hakuoho and Onosato, kind of coming up right around the same time, one basho apart. But Onosato fighting Hoshoryu today, who is our other spoiler contender, is what I was trying to say. What do you think about how that match shook out in terms of the physicals versus the veteran stuff at play, which is interesting because they're the same 1 year difference, but yeah.
I mean, I think that the turnout of the match made sense, and where Onosato, I think, had an overwhelming like size and potentially even strength. It's the difference with how technical and how skilled Hoshoryu is that he was able to still take that hit, get to the edge of the ring, and then turn it around right at the last second.
Yeah, again, everyone, if you haven't watched the matches yet, go back and watch them or even watch the replay. But like, Onosato crashes into Hoshoryu off the Tachi, gets this strong right-hand grip and actually lifts Hoshoryu up, and it kind of looks like he's going to bulldoze him out of the ring, this big, powerful, young wrestler. And what Hoshoryu is able to do is kind of pivot slightly in the air and then kind of slide on the ground, turn to his right, actually pivoting on his injured right leg with that right knee injury that he aggravated already earlier in this basho, and then use that shifting momentum and the momentum Onosato was carrying himself to really quickly throw him out the ring. Like, it's less than a 5-second match. It was very impressive. So with that, and seeing Hoshoryu's performance and knowing Teru's injured, again, sad to see Onosato go, but the bright future is still to come, so we'll say a lot more about him in future episodes. But how do you feel about Hoshoryu and his chances? If of the 4 contenders, I think we rank him the 4th, but how do you feel about Hoshoryu there?
With his match with Onosato, I don't typically think he's ever going to be like it currently with the people that are around him or where he's at, is he's never going to be like my first pick for a winner. But when I see stuff like that, where he's essentially pivoting at the last second of what should have been a loss and turning that around, I get super excited with him.
Yeah.
So I think, again, long term, he's going to be probably one of the best.
Yeah, I just want that knee to heal up correctly and well, and not be an aggravating thing.
Yep, yeah. But then when I see him, I mean, it's tough. I mean, when you're going Kirishima, Terunofuji, Takageisha when he's healthy, it's just a tough field. Mm-hmm. Where, again, I'm not going to pick him to be the best right now, but I do think, I mean, he's already an Ozeki, so I mean, his career is basically, minus some crazy injury like has happened to some others, he's going to be amazing.
Yeah, agreed. And this is just more evidence, like you were saying, that skill, and like we talked about last episode, he's already got some of the on dohyo KG veteran mentals and the skills to just flip through his Rolodex instantly and pull out different techniques and say, oh, okay, this happened, so now's the time that I can do this, and I can completely change this match in my favor.
Yeah, essentially in midair, being able to pull that off is that just shows like how quickly he's able to adapt, which is crazy.
Yeah. Hey, pivoting back to Terunofuji real quick, do you think this is his last hurrah, like either way, or how do we feel about that? We talked about the injuries.
So this is actually part of the reason I'm still really hoping that Kirishima gets his promotion, is because that really gives Terunofuji an exit. Even if he loses 2 more, he still could come out with another 2-3 wins. I think it's going to be a positive tournament for him, unlike, coming the last one we competed where he had to drop out. But I don't know. If Kirishima doesn't get it and there's no Yokozuna, I don't know that they want him to retire, or if it's just going to be he holds the slot until Kirishima can try again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we could see another year where we only get to watch one Teru tournament, and this could be it. Yeah. How do you feel in that case then? I know we already sort of touched on it, but just like definitively, Kirishima or Kotonowaka, which one is more likely to go up? Do you think it's more likely that Kirishima is a Yokozuna in March, or more likely that Kotonowaka is an Ozeki?
Ooh, man, that's a tough question. I think my gut tells me Kirishima to Yokozuna first.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Sorry, you can go ahead.
No, well, I would say I was thinking for some reason that Kirishima had outperformed Kotonowaka more than what he had, but they both had, it looks like in September, I think 9 and 6 wins, which I think that was Kirishima still healing from an injury. So I'm still giving the lead to Kirishima.
Yeah, I mean, it's you slowing me down on my follow-up it maybe changed my vote, and I might be on the Kirishima side with you again, but I was actually about to say Kotonowaka because I'm like, at some point having a win in hand matters. Like, if we think both these guys are great and Kotonowaka's already got the lead, like, that matters. Now, we've seen the opposite happen before. We've seen guys get caught in the end and then lose in a playoff and stuff like that. But then, as you were talking, it reminded me, because you were talking about past performances, and then that made me think of past performances this basho. Kotonowaka, Teru as well, but Kotonowaka still has so many San'yaku left to fight that's kind of terrifying. There's so many more, I think, opportunities for him to slip up.
Yes. I mean, I think he's got the energy for it. I love seeing the way he's been able to handle people. The matches are fast. He's still looking strong. He's looking super mature at the end. Like, he looks great. But yeah, these fights are not back to back to back, are going to be really difficult.
Yeah, so super exciting, and we will hold off. Well, we might have just spoiled it, but yeah, on official predictions, I did want to do a quick roundup again on the lower divisions. The guy whose name I couldn't remember last time is Anhibiki down in Jonokuchi. He's still 6-0, looking like he can run this thing up. And that guy is, I believe he's 18. He could be 19, but I think he's still 18. In Jonidan, our boy Aonishiki is still crushing up there. And one of the other big contenders that we highlighted last episode was Kuae, which was interesting because right after we finished recording that very next day, Aonishiki fought Kuae and crushed him. And has just been wiping the floor with all the other undefeateds. Like, our future Tochinoshin is born! Maybe. I mean, knock on wood. But Aonishiki, in Sandan May, things have just, I don't know, things have not gone to plan for what Rick was hoping for or planning. We still have a couple undefeateds left, but they are a young guy who's a real low ranker that I don't know much about, Takashoki, and a veteran guy, Fujisuyen, who has been good in the past, I don't know, I guess, but I don't know. I'm slightly less excited about those guys than the others. Makushita still got our boy Wakataka Kage going 6-0, so he's coming up. Hakuoho looking good, but he did drop one early, so I still think he's going to get back to Juryo, but he's not in the Yusho race. But Haruyama is the only one still standing in the way of Wakataka Kage as a 6-0. He's 24, so still young, but I think Waka's got him covered. And Juryo is super interesting. It's kind of gone nuts. Takeru Fuji, who we talked about, has dropped a couple matches in a row to drop to 9-2, which allowed Toki Hayate and Roga to catch him. Like, Roga now looks like he's in the driver's seat, shockingly. I don't know what'll happen there, but again, a lot of really exciting stuff down the Banzuke in addition to what's going on up here at the top. Again, buried the lead down in Juryo. Our boy Nishiki Fuji has fallen out of the Yusho race, which is sad, but still looking like he can get back up. So definitively, Nick, four title contenders. I'm not. There are still outsiders with a chance, but really we're breaking this down to 2 Ozeki, a Yokozuna, and a Sekiwake. Kotonowaka, Terunofuji, Kirishima, and Hoshoryu. Who does your heart tell you deserves to win, and who does your brain tell you is going to win?
So my heart still wants Kotonowaka win, Kirishima run up, so they can both get their promotions.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, like my body's telling me it's Kirishima win.
My heart's telling me both, but my body.
That's the exact song that just ran through my head when I said that.
It's good. Yeah, for me, if it's my heart, it screws everything so much of the like the political Banzuke like we've talked about and all the JSA and the machinations and whatnot. But my heart just wants Teru. I want Teru to run the I don't know that it's going to happen, but I just want the swan song. I want Teru to get one more and ride off into the sunset. My brain, at this point, I was going to say Kotonowaka, but now I think you won me over. I think my brain just says Kirishima is going to get this done. But yeah, those are the two I would have. I'm sorry, Kotonowaka. I still hope you get it. And I still think you are a Yokozuna contender in your career. And I'm sorry, Hoshoryu. That win was really good today. But I don't know. Somehow the two guys who have done it, right? You know, like Hoshoryu's gotten one win, but Kirishima's gotten a couple and he's contended in others. Like, it's hard for me to look past those two.
Yes. And like you said, I would love to see Tiano Fuji get his 9th win. But I think, honestly, if he got 9th, I'd be like, well, what if he comes back for one more and gets that 10th? Like, I think that thought would run through. So I'd be okay with him not getting it this time.
Yeah. Either way, I can't wait to see what happens. Also, if you're listening, I would love to see who you all think out of these last 4, because obviously the poll results were quite insightful. Pretty much all those Maigashiras have fallen out of the running. But so of these big guns who are left there, I'm interested to see who your all's heart and head picks are, or if there's a wild card that you think can still come out of here. Like, the odds are so slim, but are there people still riding the Onosato train, Onosho? Like, you know what I mean? I'm interested to hear what everyone thinks on that as well. But for now, there's nothing left for us to do but watch the conclusion of what has so far been an awesome basho and see what kind of damage this is going to do to any future Banzukes one way or the other. Nick, I'll talk to you later, and thanks for listening, everybody.